everybody's calling you out from 154, 147, 135, 130.
Shit, that's more money for me.
Yes, sir.
I'll fight all of them.
Who would you say has more skills, Ryan Garcia or Hector Garcia?
Skill-wise?
Yeah.
Hector, for sure. Skill.
What's up, guys, and Happy New Year. This is your boy Josh Showtime, and this is Showtime Fight Forum, where we talk all things fights. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and all that good stuff. Thank you for watching. And New Year, same me. Let's get into this nitty gritty on our first episode of the year. So, as always, I'm gonna be basic just like everybody else, and I'm going to do a list of my top 5 boxing and MMA fights of 2023. Okay, you know, this is going to be a lackluster couple weeks as far as UFC goes, but there's going to be one coming up shortly. Boxing, we have Tank versus Garcia that is happening this weekend, which is going to be a very exciting fight just because both guys love action. And, you know, after the whole fiasco that was going on with Tank, you know, it's still a Tank fight, so we should be excited. But this month, we're not going to get the fights that we genuinely want to see, pay-per-view, you know, possible $1 million buy fights. So right now, I'm going to talk about the top 5 fights that I personally want to see the most. All right, so let's start off with boxing. For my boxing aficionados, all right? So I'm going to start this off. This is my top 5 list. I'm not ranking these from literally 1 to the most anticipated to the least anticipated. These are just 5 fights that I need to see this year. Not next year, this year, okay? And the first fight is a fight that is apparently signed up for, but once again, they said Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence was signed up for, but we didn't get it. And that is Tank Garcia versus Ryan Garcia. That's Tank Garcia. Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. That fight is a fight that needs to be made. And once again, I know everybody say it's official, and we don't know. All right, it's boxing. They say things are official. The next thing you know, it ain't happening. But hopefully we do get this fight in April. This is a fight that I've been talking about for years now, and I think it's a more competitive fight than most people are saying. I think Tank should be the favorite, but I do think Ryan Garcia can and possibly will stop him. You guys are sleeping on the power, the quickness, and the left hook of Ryan Garcia. Just because he likes to have his chin up in the air, yeah, that's a problem. But Tank can be had. And if Mike Tyson be knocked out by Buster Douglas, I don't know why people don't think Ryan Garcia is talented enough to be able to knock out Gervonta Davis. So that's definitely one of the most anticipated fights. That fight will do over 1 million buys. Both are pay-per-view stars. I mean, both are stars in their own right. And it's, once again, good guy versus bad guy, tatted up versus pretty boy. I mean, it sells so many different. You got Oscar De La Hoya versus Floyd Mayweather. It's just too much in this fight to not make a lot of money. And yes, Tank isn't necessarily with Floyd anymore, but he still has Floyd as somewhat of a supporter. The second fight is going to be Beterbiev versus Bivol. All right, so this fight is 2 undefeated guys at light heavyweight. These guys don't have a lot of fights, but these guys are veterans in the game, world champions in the same weight class, 2 undefeated guys in their prime. I mean, why are we not seeing this fight this year? Why would we not see this fight? I mean, Bivol, very good tactician. You know, he's not much of a power puncher, but he is a boxer puncher. He can hurt you, but he's more so going to box you up. And Beterbiev is just a destroyer. This guy has finished every single person he's fought this year. Wow, what are we talking about here? This fight needs to be made as soon as possible, okay? I know Beterbiev got a fight lined up, but once he dispatches his fight, we need to see this next. No questions asked. And what's funny is actually in this list, Canelo's not really on this list, and he should be, but these fights I'm actually just looking forward to a little bit more, okay? So, yeah. The next fight is going to be the fight that we already know is going to come, which is going to be Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford. The fight should have been made 2 years ago. Unfortunately, we still haven't gotten it. This year needs to be the year. I'm gonna be honest, if we don't get the fight this year, it's not gonna ever be on my list again. I don't care about it. Let's move on. Because these guys are in their mid-30s now. It's getting close to these guys getting out their prime. I don't care about modern medicine. These guys are not at their absolute best right now. Like for long. I mean, for much longer. So I'm good. These guys are, these guys need a fight. It needs to happen right now. And Boots is coming, so Let's get this thing going. The next fight is going to be Devin Haney versus Shakur Stevenson. Okay, now this fight is not going to be a very big fight for the casuals, just because Devin Haney does not have a casual-friendly style. I think Shakur Stevenson actually has more of a people-pleasing style than Shakur does, but he's also defensively sound as well. Sometimes he can drag fights out, but he's much more willing to engage than Shakur. Shakur, well, if he doesn't need to engage, he's not going to engage. He's just going to use his feet and just stick. He's just going to stick you a bunch of times. But this is a fight that is a made in heaven. These guys are both super young. I don't even think neither one are physically in their prime yet. They're getting into their prime, but neither one has lost. These guys both have been undisputed champions in their own respective weight classes. Now Shakur is going up. I mean, this is a really good fight for American boxing. I mean, this is a fight that we would love to see. Okay, so I mean, I hope we can get it, but you know, boxing politics, we don't know. Now, the last fight that is on my top 5 list, and my honorable mention, I will say, just so I do add in the Canelo, is Canelo versus Charlo. I do want to see that fight. That fight should be made. Unfortunately, we're probably not going to get it this year, though. I don't know how, but something's going to come up and we're not going to get it. But the fight that I want to see as well is going to be the monster Inoue versus Stephen Fulton. Now, this is once again another fight where it's not going to be a pay-per-view fight. This will not be a major casual fight. But if you're a boxing fan, why would you not want to see these two beasts go hand to hand with each other? I mean, a lot of people have Inoue as their pound king. Minimum, they have him as 2 or 3. And then you have Stephen Fulton, who's the bigger guy, who's a very sharp boxer, and he hasn't lost. I mean, you got the American versus the undefeated monster in Inoue. I mean, it's a very big selling fight for boxing purists. So I hope this fight gets made this year because Inoue is apparently going up. He's already depleted his weight classes. So this fight needs to be made early quarter of 2023. Hopefully. Now, you know, with boxing, let's keep it 100. I just named 6 fights. With boxing and the way boxing goes, we're gonna get none of them. So, you know, these are the fights that I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to see, but I also want to, you know, lower your expectations. You're probably not gonna see any of them. That's just how it works. Now, we're gonna go to MMA. Now, the thing I love about MMA and why I started off being an MMA fan before really becoming a real hardcore boxing fan is because MMA gives you the fights that you want to see. I'm about to name 5 fights. We're probably gonna get like 4 out of these 5, realistically. Now, the first fight that I want to bring up is I want to go outside of the UFC, and that is going to be Pitbull versus Sergio Pettis. Now, Pettis is the 135-pound champ, and Pitbull has been murmuring saying that he can go down to 135. He's already a 2-weight belt holder. For the craps and giggles on him being a 3-weight belt holder in one organization, in a top-tier organization like Bellator, that is, I mean, he's already got a Hall of Fame MMA career, in my opinion, but this just like stamps it as like one of the most ridiculous careers you can have. 3 belts, 3 weight classes. As Sergio Pettis, who's in his prime right now, and granted if Pettis still has his belt, because he very well could lose it to whoever has the belt. I mean, whoever wins the tournament between Stouts and Mr. Backpack. Now, but if Pettis does come out champ, I would love to see this fight because stylistically it's a very fun fight. We know Pettis, the Pettis boys, they are stand-up guys who have really good, solid ground game. Not the greatest takedown defense, but these guys can stand and they're very creative with their strikes. Pitbull is exactly what his name is, Pitbull. He is a monster who will attack, but he's very versatile. He can also wrestle. He can submit you as well. So it's a very balanced fight, and hopefully we do get that this year. But once again, that's dependent on if people win and if Pitbull wants to lose weight like he says he does. And I do think he would love to make history. Now, another fight, which is going to be under Bellator, is going to be AJ McKee versus Umar at 155. I mean, once again, this is a match made in heaven. These guys are very, I think it's going to be very competitive. AJ doesn't have to cut that weight. He looks pretty good at 155. His wrestling isn't the greatest, but we already know Umar who can wrestle. But he's a striker, actually. And this guy is really good with his kicks, but do you really want to stand with a person as dynamic as AJ? You can put your lights out with one shot. I don't know, you don't know, but it is a fight that needs to be made because Umar has been tested in Bellator. And this is the one guy that can, maybe the only guy that can. So hopefully we can get that as well. Matter of fact, not hopefully, we will get that fight. I know for a fact we will get AJ versus Umar this year. This pretty much set in stone in my opinion. Now we're gonna go a little to the UFC. And my first fight I'm gonna bring up is a pretty casual, friendly fight, which is Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler. That fight is fireworks. That fight will not last more than 2 minutes in the freaking first round. We need to see that. Michael Chandler, he's not gonna win the belt. We need to put him in firefights until he's ready to retire. Conor, that's a winnable fight. Michael Chandler is chinny. Conor punches hard. However, Michael Chandler also punches hard. He can very well knock out Conor McGregor. Come on. It's a fight that really doesn't need to be selling point. We know why we want it. Just make it happen, David. Now, the other fight I want to bring up will be another fight that will probably happen this year, but it should have happened 2 years ago. But we don't know why it didn't happen, but it just hasn't happened. And that is Francis Ngannou versus John Jones. John Jones, we already know, the greatest of all time at light heavyweight. He's, in my opinion, still the greatest mixed martial artist of all time as well. And then we have the scariest fighter we've ever seen in the UFC. So I mean, do I need to really explain why this is an anticipated fight? Because we know why it is, and it should be. It just needs to be made. I don't know what's going on. I know Francis is apparently possibly a free agent, and also he got hurt. John Jones has been very picky about his selections, and also is just being very patient. Kind of been annoying as well. I don't know what's going on with the two, but the fight needs to be made, and that is a mega fight. Now, the last one is probably going to be a little bit of a shocker, and that is going to be Valentina Shevchenko versus Tatiana Suarez. She's coming back. All right, Tatiana Suarez is apparently back. Now, this is obviously depending on how she looks in her first fight. Now, if she looks as good as I hope she does, this fight has to be made yesterday. All right, we saw a little chink in Shevchenko's armor when she fought Santos. Now we're going against a better grappler in Tatiana Suarez. Now, cardio will be an issue because we don't know how she's going to look. She hasn't fought 4 years, ring rust, and all that good stuff. She's never been in a 5-round fight. There's a bunch of questions. However, stylistically, this will be one of her most challenging fights, bar none. Bar freaking none. And Tatiana Suarez is a monster in top position. So there's the fear factor. You have the dominance in Valentina. There's just so much in this fight that I would love to absolutely see. So hopefully it does get made this year. Hopefully Tatiana has no setbacks. I mean, honestly, God bless the girl, man. She had so many injury issues. I believe also she had a cancer scare or a cancer issue. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's happening in Suarez camp. So she's a tough girl, and I hope that she'll be able to thug it out and be able to be consistent this year. But she's basically the Dominic Cruz of the women's division. Simple and plain, in my opinion. She just hasn't been a champion, but she's been good enough to be a long-reigning champion. That's how good she's been. But I would love to hear you guys. What's your top 5 MMA, top 5 boxing matches this year? And hopefully we can get some of these things made. But like I said, the MMA side, I'm pretty sure we're going to get most of those fights that I brought up. As always, man, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys for watching as always, and Happy New Year and be blessed.